The guys are back now. Enjoy. It's the Opie and Anthony Show on Sirius XM.
Busy day. We got Bob Kelly in studio. Rich Vos and Neil deGrasse Tyson is making his way into the studio in a minute or two here. What number mic you got there, Rich? 7
there
still?
He is.
Hello, sir.
Hey, Neil.
How are you? Hey, are you familiar with our song Lyric Sunday yet?
Yeah.
Is anybody?
We hate
God, we hate it.
We already made fun of it. We made fun of that last week.
Oh, you did?
Terrible.
I just told Neil off mic how great the new show Cosmos is. I just want to make sure I say it on air as well. I saw the first episode last night, and I loved it.
Yeah, just trying to keep the universe real.
Right.
What team did you play for?
I'm Team Cosmos, all right?
Oh, my God.
I haven't seen it, but Opie was raving about it this morning, and it's like you're kind of picking up Carl with the show Carl Sagan started,
right,
and redoing it, or just doing it.
Yeah, if you're old enough to remember that.
Yeah, hell yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Well, a couple things. I mean, they're putting a lot of money behind this show because the animation.
It's a full up network production, and we took full advantage of that.
Right.
It's not just because there's resources or money there, but we actually had access to visualization talent that previously had only given those energies to full blown blockbusters.
They built you a spaceship, sir.
Yeah.
He's in a spaceship.
Well, ship of the imagination.
Ship of the imagination.
Ship of the imagination.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
In the original, it was you needed a place to pivot back and forth through space and time,
right?
Some place to go so that the camera can go to the next place.
Right.
It had some mixed reviews because it was a little weird and why is he there? But in the new one, it's been re-envisioned.
Okay.
And I thought I was biased initially, but I'm not. The ship is badass.
It
I don't
is.
mean to tell you. I'm just saying.
The special effects for this new show is great.
My cousin programmed the computers on the space shuttle. Andy Post. You know Andy Post?
I know the
he's a genius.
Yeah, okay.
He programmed.
Is that his name, though?
Connect.
Do you think he's bragging about you somewhere? My husband.
My husband. Yeah. Is that what you call him now?
My family relation.
Yeah, really.
There's a lot of inbreeding. You get husbands.
That explains it.
I didn't know you met Carl Sagan.
Yeah, when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
I was applying to colleges, and he's a professor up at Cornell. And I didn't know, but that my application to Cornell was sent to him by the admissions office. And they said, "What do you think of this guy?" He wrote me a letter.
You were that smart back then? Well, no, I don't think they just.
It's not a matter of smart or not smart. I don't even know what that word means, but I know that I love the universe.
Okay.
And my application was dripping.
Oh, okay. So it got his attention.
Yeah, I got his attention. He sent me a letter, invited me up, and showed me around. And reached behind his desk and pulled out one of his books and signed it. I still have that book.
Showed that
to
on
Neil
the first
Tyson,
episode.
future astronomer.
Wow.
So yeah,
Bobby doesn't know what a book is.
My Rich.
Boy.
No, your polite laughter says it all, my friend. Thank you for that. Yes. Can I just say something?
Books are sources of knowledge that don't require batteries.
Can we segue into something in between Rich's ears? Let's talk about the dark matter.
Yeah. The endless void.
He says he's a genius. He says he's a genius.
He took an
You're on radio, and no one knows who he is, as you point out.
They know.
The audience knows.
Yeah.
They know, Neil.
We're talking about a dummy. They know.
He took an IQ test recently.
He took an IQ test.
Yeah.
141.
Nice.
141.
Come on.
And then,
Now, what I find about people get high IQs, they have to tell other people.
Right.
Right. And it's like I think the coolest IQs are the ones that you don't know what it is, and they just are.
I also had a 142.
And what on an online IQ test?
By himself in a kitchen
what were
with
their
a pencil.
Kardashian questions?
Make fun of me to build. Tear me down to build yourself up.
No, I'm not building myself up.
Any 12-step program will tell you that that's what you're doing.
But you just did that to Bobby.
What?
With the book thing.
No, I was being real.
Oh, I see. Oh, you weren't making a joke.
I'm not making a joke. I'm not. This is a real.
I do want to hear about the universe.
Exactly.
So I would like to.
Smart about
Exactly.
that. Thank you.
Well, the universe, it's all around us. And
Yes.
one of the goals of Cosmos is to remind you of that fact. That it's not just...
Some people don't like feeling insignificant, though.
Well, no, so that meant you started with an ego unjustifiably too large to begin with.
Is that it?
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah. If you say, oh, that made me feel small, well, because you thought you were big compared to the universe. So get real, notice how small we are in space and in time, and then find other things to feel big about. Like the very material of your bodies derives from stars. We are stardust.
What? Oh my God! This is where it gets crazy.
No, but so now you look up at night and you see the stars and say, "I'm a participant in the great unfolding of this cosmic story." That's how you feel big. You don't feel big by saying, "I'm bigger than the universe."
Will you explain the ending of Prometheus for me?
No.
And will you spell it for me?
I have a quick Prometheus comment, if I may.
Yes.
So they made it clear how far away they are. They're like, 30 light years away near a star, okay?
Yeah.
And around another star.
Wow.
And there's a scene with Charlize Theron, I don't know if you remember this, where there's this sexual tension between her and the captain of the ship. And she says, pretendingly like she's not interested, I didn't come 50, what is it? I didn't come 1 billion miles into space to just, make it with you. And 1 billion miles is like to Saturn.
That's
okay?
nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing.
Would that be, 180 trillion light years? 180 trillion miles?
1 billion miles? No, 1 billion miles is 1 billion miles.
30 light years would be 180 trillion.
Yeah, about that, because 1 light year is 6 trillion miles, so demand's good.
Yeah, look at Jimmy. Jimmy knows.
It's funny that
his
you're
light
the only
years.
person that fucking critiqued that part of the movie.
Well, no, it was...
That's
yeah,
a billion. What this bitch
no,
don't
what
know
people
what she's
said was,
talking
we
about.
know you're a geek because you were not otherwise distracted by her body. Right. I'm thinking, no, that's the wrong number she's saying here. See, that's how you get geek street cred, all right?
It's about to be a sex scene.
I'm card carrying. I got this. I got this.
Yeah, I'd never have sex with her. She's terrible at math.
I didn't say that now, but I was...
So what are we getting from Cosmos from the new one?
I'm trying to...
You're hosting.
We're just trying to... it's a huge collaboration, and the lead writer is Ann Druyan, who is Carl Sagan's widow and co-author with Steve Soder, a colleague of mine, of the original series. And so they're both. So that means we have the genetic link to the original. So we know how to turn the knobs and tweak the themes. And so what we're trying to do is remind you that it's okay to be stupefied by the universe, to feel a sense of awe and wonder. And this is something we all had it as kids, but at some point it all got beaten out of us or distracted out of us. Right. And I say this often, your parents spent the first year of your lives teaching you to walk and talk, and the rest of your life telling you to shut up and sit down. And it's the walking and talking and exploring of the world that a scientist still has as an adult. And the whole point of the show is to sort of ignite that flame of curiosity in us all. Plus, the 21st century, you're going to need some kind of science literacy to solve the problems that we have in energy and transportation and security and health. So don't come around me and saying, no, I don't need science. I got other... It's like, of course you need science. And Cosmos is a way to get you to realize how much you want science.
You're an astrophysicist, right?
Astrophysicist.
And what, how much of that involves theoretical physics?
Yeah.
Or is it the same thing, or is it?
It's half. I mean, it's all a community of you put forth a hypothesis. We have testing. We have computer modeling, and what emerges once you explain what is known and successfully predict stuff you hadn't known before. What emerges is a successful theory. So the theory of gravity, quantum theory, evolutionary theory, these are the successful understandings of how the natural world works. And these are the highest fruits of science.
Wow.
You lost me at hello. Do you
But
get
you
a
got
lot
that
of
big
girl
IQ.
groupies? A lot of scientist groupies?
Okay, so you asked if they girl groups. If my assessment of this is that no one is immune. No one of any gender is immune from being a science groupie. And so I think my highest compliment I ever got was, I got this in my Twitter stream. So the guy said, I'm as straight as the next guy, but if Neil Tyson showed up at my door with a bottle of champagne and a Barry White CD, I'm letting him in. So I thought that was so. My point is, there are people who never before were stimulated intellectually, but they don't know how to react. And whenever you're stimulated in other walks of life, you feel it sensually. So I'm finding that people are sensually stimulated by the intellectual enlightenment that the universe brings them, and I say whatever works, we'll do it. Because
Do you miss being on the Love Boat?
that wasn't me. No.
We actually just interviewed him.
We had Isaac in last week.
That's why I said it. I remember that interview. Don't mind Bob. I thought you guys would laugh a little more. You guys are all uptight because he knows how to make a laser.
We get very few bona fide geniuses.
Yeah, we love talking to guys
we
like
know
Neil.
that.
What are some of the subjects you're going to tackle with
so
Cosmos?
the first episode, as you may remember, because you saw a preview of it, we had to sort of lay the foundation. So
I like the big calendar.
The calendar.
You got to walk on one of those big calendars.
A calendar the size of a football field.
Yes.
And it's a year-at-a-glance calendar, so it's got all 12 months there. And you lay the history of the universe onto that calendar. So now so you get to say things like, well, when was the Big Bang? January 1st, okay?
Right.
You go back there, and I check it. I don sunglasses for that. It's the only thing I don sunglasses for. If you got to put on sunglasses, let it be for the Big Bang. And then you can ask, when did our galaxy form? The Milky Way. That was March 15th. And then you say, on that calendar. Then you say, well, when did our solar system form? We didn't form when our galaxy formed. We are after subsequent generations of stars have forged these heavy elements that make the physical chemistry that's in our bodies. We needed to wait that time to have these ingredients enough to make planets and life and people. So that happened August 31st.
Wow.
And you keep going. And then each day is about 40 million years. So you can ask, when did the dinosaurs go extinct? You go to the museums and you see the bones. You say, boy, that was forever ago. On a cosmic calendar, it was a day and a half ago.
There's still one left.
Okay? It was a day and a half ago.
A day and a half
It was
ago.
like midday, December 30th. That's right. And so it puts it all. Now you ask, well, when were we?
Right.
Okay. So all of recorded human history takes place in the last 15 seconds of the cosmic calendar.
Last 15 seconds.
Yes.
Based on one
so
year
now-
being the entire history since the Big Bang till now.
Correct.
We are merely 15 seconds.
The entire record of any knowledge of who was a human being. So when people
Right.
started taking notes,
Sure.
who were the kings, queens, dynasties, and all the like, that was in the fact to be precise, 14 seconds.
Can I see this all through my telescope I got with Marlboro Miles?
You got a telescope. Actually, it's a special edition Cosmos telescope, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, special edition. So by Celestron.
Could you talk? It was in the first
like a good
episode
telescope.
about the planets that are in pitch darkness.
Oh yeah, so we learned.
That's one thing I learned for the first time. Like, what?
Yeah. The rogue planets. Yeah, vagabond
rogue
planets
planets.
wandering the solar system. Like, what's that ship that the ghost ships in the night.
I actually tried. Pardon me. I tried to actually give him a real scientific answer. You should just put your elbow into my teeth.
No.
'Cause he said, "What was that?" I'm like, "Oh, the Voyager, scientist genius."
No, we got Voyager in there too. The farthest piece of hardware ever sent.
Yeah.
And on the side of it is a record. I'll get back to the rogue planets in a minute, but since you brought up Voyager, Voyager was launched in the 70s and it did a tour of the planets, doing sort of a multi-planet like pool cue shot, where you do a slingshot around one planet, gives you some extra energy, aim it in the right direction upon doing so, and if you plan this out right, you can visit multiple planets with the same amount of energy, with the same.
How do they figure that out?
Launch energy. Yeah. No, it's great.
That's
It's
crazy.
like Newton's laws of physics.
Have you ever been in space?
Never.
Do you want to?
Only if you're going to send me somewhere. I don't. Don't just send me in orbit, boldly going where hundreds have gone before. and wait, and you know the dude Felix
Baumgarten, yeah.
Don't get me started. Edge of space jump. Now it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Let
pretty
the man
impressive.
be the edge of space jump. But let me explain what he did. All right. If you shrink Earth to the size of a schoolroom globe, so you get a sense of how high up he was, ask how high above a schoolroom globe did he jump? 1 millimeter above the surface.
1 millimeter.
1 millimeter above the surface. And so, but no one is from Red Bull is telling you that.
Right.
Are they a
Where would
sponsor? I
space
don't
be?
know.
And if that was the globe, where would actually space begin?
Well, so space by that definition is kind of arbitrary. What they're saying we have a functional definition of space. It is the high enough altitude where the atmosphere is not glowing blue, so that there's so little air above you, you can see stars in the daytime sky. That's the reason why you can't see stars. It's not because the sun is so bright. It's because you have air there scattering sunlight. The blue out of the spectrum of sunlight is scattering that. That's why you have a blue sky. You go up high enough, the sky gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and then you have the universe in broad daylight. That, for us, is about 60 miles up. Wow. Okay? So, if you go about 60 miles and up, we call that space. But I don't like that as a definition of space. Because if our atmosphere was thinner, then 30 miles up would be space. Or even thinner, 10 miles up. If we had no atmosphere at all, what, would just be standing here on Earth, be space?
Space, right.
Right. So, when I think of space, I think of orbit. Now you're talking space.
How high before he would have, like, how high would he have had to go before, if he just jumped out and all of a sudden he's floating? How much higher would he have to go?
So that's the point. You don't float unless you are in orbit. And orbit is the coolest thing that Isaac Newton figured out. So here's what this will take me a minute. Just
don't worry about me. I'm already feeling dumb.
No, you got a minute.
I'm right behind you.
So, all right. If you're in an elevator and I cut the cable, the elevator, and you're standing on a scale, and you weigh, what are you, 150 pounds? What are you?
About 149.5 since the dieting.
So you're squeezing a spring and a scale, and it reads 150 pounds, all right, in an elevator. Now I cut the cable. The elevator drops. The scale drops. You drop. You're all dropping at exactly the same rate. The scale no longer reads 150 pounds. It reads 0.
Right.
Everything in that elevator is weightless because you're in free fall towards Earth.
Right.
Until you hit the bottom and then you're dead. All right. Unless there's springs and things. But so if you are in orbit, you are going sideways while you are falling towards Earth. You just happen to have sideways motion. And so you are going so fast sideways that for every 10 feet you fall, Earth curves away from you by 10 feet.
Right.
You go 30 feet down, Earth has curved 30 feet. This is the exact speed you have to have.
You're constantly falling.
You're constantly falling towards a round
right.
object.
Yeah.
So that's why astronauts are weightless.
I gotta go.
Not because they've left the Earth and are floating randomly in space. They are weightless because they are falling towards Earth. So Felix Baumgartner was never weightless until he actually jumped. Well, you jumped, you're in free fall.
Right.
You're weightless while you jump.
When the astronauts, and I asked the physicist this week, what
you just talked to physicists. That's cool.
Yeah, we
have access to how many people
That and hookers.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's not everybody who has access. How will get to say? I brought this up with a physicist this week.
You're the second one this week.
Yes, we had Brian Green came in.
Right, he's a good friend.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we know. Yeah,
he's a good guy.
He was cool.
But the astronauts, when they're in space, we always think like, oh my God, they're not dealing with any gravity. And I know that they're falling, but if they were to, like, say, stop falling, what percentage of Earth's gravity would they feel at that height?
Well, so if you just stop their sideways motion, then they would fall straight down instead of sideways down. And they would still be weightless until they encounter the atmosphere. And then the atmosphere would slow them down, and they'd start taking on weight for having done so.
So what percentage of the Earth's gravity is it at that height, like, would you say?
Oh, it's slightly less. Hardly no. You'd be like
negligible.
Less than a pound.
Yeah.
Less than a pound.
So it's about their experience about 95% of the gravity we are if they weren't falling.
If they were floating there in a hot air balloon, you would feel the weight at that altitude, and they would, if you're 150, you'd be like 148.5 pounds, maybe 149 pounds.
That's why, unless you're in orbit, the Earth would like to have you back.
Yeah. I like that.
It'll just grab you.
And another thing, if you go up, if you just drop down to Earth, you're not going to burn up. You know why you burn up coming back?
The speed.
Because you were going 18,000 miles an hour sideways. All right, and we got to get rid of that energy somehow. And so, fortunately, we have the atmosphere. You say, oh, they need the heat shields, otherwise they'll burn up. They like the heat shields because they don't have to bring fuel to slow down. They're basically aerobraking. It is a feature, not a problem, of returning from space. You just got to make sure you design it so that you don't burn up.
Amazing.
And so you need those heat shields to dissipate the 18,000 miles an hour sideways energy. And if you're just standing up there in space and I drop you, you'll gain speed, but then you'll start feeling the atmosphere and you start to slow down. So you can just drop out of if the space shuttle turned backwards, the former space shuttle turned backwards, fired its rockets so that it lost the energy, the speed, and it was just like zero. It could just fall down. It would drop out and land like an airplane. You wouldn't need the heat shields.
It wouldn't be economical.
It wouldn't be economical. You would need as much, fuel to slow down as they needed to get there in the first place.
Well, yeah.
I never realized that.
Yeah.
I always thought if you kept going up.
No such thing as a free lunch.
I always thought if you kept going up, you'd hit that heat, but I guess not. Okay, that makes perfect sense.
No.
Talk about the rogue with air molecules.
Talk about the rogue planets.
Yeah. Rogue, he has a freak. Maybe got a one-track mind.
You said you would go back. It was such a creepy concept.
We learned recently. Last 15 years or so, when we started creating models of planets, of the formation of star systems, you realize, okay, here we are with 8 planets and some debris, Pluto included. All right, get over it here. Okay,
that's messed up.
Yes, I know. For some people, it's messed up. But if you take in the whole picture, it's actually pretty cool. Yeah. So Pluto is the biggest member of a new swath of real estate known as the Kuiper Belt of icy bodies in the outer solar system. So Pluto's happier there. I'm pretty sure. So if you do this, you say, well, we have these many planets, and did we form that way? You put it on the computer, take a mass of a gas cloud, collapse it, form planets within it, and you end up with 3 or 4 times as many planets as what ultimately give you stable orbits later. And so our solar system probably started with like 30 planets, 20 to 30 planets. Where did they go? They got flung out into space because their trajectories moving around the sun and near other planets is not stable. It's just not stable. And so some will collide with Jupiter, some get slammed back into the sun, others are cast asunder. And it's those that are cast into interstellar space that constitute the vagabond planets, and they may outnumber the planets that have homes. Wow. So these are basically homeless planets. And some of them might still have heat. Earth still has heat. That's why we have volcanoes. That heat doesn't come from the sun. That comes from leftover heat from our formation. Plus there's some radioactive decay of elements in our crust, pumping heat in. So that doesn't need the sun. And we always talk about the Goldilocks zone that has the right temperature for liquid water so you have life, because you need heat for that. If you have a planet floating in space and it still has this leftover heat, you don't need the sun. Wow. It'll be frozen on its surface, but go down deep. Maybe there's life thriving deep beneath the frozen surface.
There is life on other planets.
There could very well likely be, given what we know about life and its ingredients.
But do you think we'll discover it in our lifetime?
I'd like to think so. Possibly on Mars or one of Jupiter's moons, Europa. Europa is cool. It's outside of the Goldilocks zone because Jupiter's too far away, but Jupiter's pumping heat inside of it with the stress of its gravity. And when you pump heat inside, you melt the ice. And we're pretty sure Europa has an ocean of liquid water that's been liquid for billions of years. So as I tell people often, I want to go ice fishing on Europa. There's a movie called The Europa Report where they actually took a clip of me talking about Europa, put it in there.
Oh, really?
It was like an actual live clip and about the discovery of life on Europa.
I think I saw that one. Weren't they sending a probe down to go through the ice? And
Yeah,
I did see that one.
Yeah, and it's water, so every place on Earth you have liquid water, you have life, including the Dead Sea. You know why they call it the Dead Sea? Because they didn't have microscopes. Okay? So just be careful how you name stuff, because typically you name it as in ways derived from the limitations of your physiology.
Yeah.
I thought it was salty. I thought there was the salt in it that made it.
Yeah, no. So there's no macroscopic fishes and things. So people thought that nothing was alive.
Yeah.
They just didn't. Microscope hadn't been invented yet.
Right.
So if they get below the surface, do you think they're going to find something that's microbiotic or something?
Yeah.
Tiny,
If you go to Europa, so you're asking what are the chances we might find life? If I were to sort of rank the places, I'd say maybe subsurface Mars. There could be some places kept liquid, some aquifers. That'd be nice to see. And that's nearby compared with Europa. Europa, that's a long trip to take if you're.
How far is that?
Well, Jupiter, it's
10 years.
It's 5 times the Earth-Sun distance. So yeah, it's I give it a 10-year.
One's like a genius.
Like as a married guy, like your wife has to be brilliant to keep up with you. I mean, you're not going to talk like this, and she's going to talk about the housewives.
Well, she has a PhD in mathematical physics.
Yeah, she's got to be. You can't
and we met in graduate school.
Yeah, she's got to be brilliant because when you said,
but maybe
when we all talk about the cauliflower or whatever, none of us talk about the cauliflower
First of all, no one knows what cauliflower is.
Oh my
What did he
God.
say when he was talking about?
If you want to reenact the scene that you're hearing right now at home, just start to listen to an ant talking to you.
Yeah.
If an ant is talking to you, it's the same thing.
That's what Neil has to deal with today.
Neil is dealing with right now is if a bug was in your kitchen and started making noises and you had to try to understand what the bug was saying.
To communicate with the worm.
It's got to be brilliant.
Or, but Neil should be sitting on a bank and talking to Rich and telling Rich, just go ahead, look out across the water. And Rich should be talking about tending the rabbits.
Right.
See, they try to tear you down
But
and build themselves up.
You know what's more important than knowledge? Wonder.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I wonder why they're still on the air.
No, but he's a pretty hip scientist, though, as scientists go.
Yeah, he makes it cool.
You're actually kind of hip and cool. Like, if I met you, I wouldn't know you were a fucking genius. You just...
No, I know. Let me just say that I think I got good material. The universe gives you good material.
Yeah.
But A. B, I'm not the universe, I'm just revealing the universe as I feel it and as I see it.
Right.
So I'm not. So to say that I make it fun, no, it is fun. When I think about falling into a black hole, that's some fun stuff right there. Okay, how it spaghettifies you as you get extruded through the narrowing fabric of space-time. All right, that's just inherently awesome to think about.
How many miles do you think it is from like the event horizon into the actual hole? Like how far do you think?
Well, the event horizon technically is what we think of as the hole, because you cross over the event horizon, you ain't coming back out, and if you fall and light doesn't come out, black hole. Period. Wow. So once you're in, that's it, and you go all the way down to the singularity. As like I said, you're funneling the fabric of space and time gets narrower. Plus, there's something called the tidal force, the thing that makes tides on Earth between the Earth and the Moon and the Sun and the Earth. But there's also a tidal force for black holes. As you fall towards a black hole, if you go in a feet first dive, the change in gravity becomes so severe that your feet start getting pulled towards the center of the black hole faster than your head does. And that's okay initially because you feel like you're stretching, right? That's just a good stretch. But then it becomes unrelenting. And then the force, at one point, the force will exceed the intermolecular forces of your tissue of your body.
Now you're just
and then you will snap into two pieces, likely at the base of your spine. Jeez. Then the other two pieces will snap into two pieces, and then become 4, and then 8, and then 16, and you will bifurcate as you descend down to this cosmic abyss. And like I said, that's not even the worst part, because now you're being funneled down to something that's really narrow. And so there you are being stretched head to toe, and then squeezed shoulder to shoulder. And this is the extruding that goes on as you descend to a black hole. That's why we call it spaghettification.
For sure. Henry VIII used to torture people like that.
If they had it, they surely would have done it.
What's your conclusion with the Bermuda Triangle?
It's really hard
I got a conclusion.
His conclusion. I need to go. I want to go because I think this might be contagious.
Bermuda Triangle.
Hold on, Elmer
Fudd.
Have you seen a rabbit?
I swear we're smart, Neil. I swear we're smart.
No, I have a good answer for you. Thank you.
That's a good question.
Don't let them.
I slipped on the word.
We're together here.
I want to hear your conclusion.
You're right at my side. Don't pay no mind to the.
There's none to pay.
Listen.
There's no mind to pay. Right?
Do you donate your time at a community college? Why are you being so nice to him?
So here's an interesting fact. The Bermuda Triangle. What was it? Bermuda, Miami, and
somewhere in the Bahamas.
Some triangle of Atlantic Ocean where there were ships disappearing and planes disappearing, and people were wondering whether there was something mystical, magical going on there. And so, okay, if you're losing planes, you want to know why. All right, is it magic or is it not? And so you do the analysis, and what you find out is that triangle had such a highly traversed shipping lane that if you were to find for planes and for ships, that the normal rate that planes crash or that ships sink for the whole world was also happening there. It's just that there were more of them.
That's all that is?
That's all it is. So if you ran through the numbers, it was no more dangerous than any other place in the world. It's just
the
that
probability was
total
higher.
traffic was
more
higher.
accidents are going to happen where there's more traffic
where
on the road.
Where there's more traffic.
Right.
And here's another interesting point.
Hilarious.
No one ever talks about missing trains.
What?
Well, if you crash in the freaking ocean, you sink to the bottom. All right, to the bottom of an ocean that's miles deep.
Right.
All right. And so, yeah, for our intents and purposes, you've disappeared. If you could drain the Atlantic, whoa,
you'd see a lot of planes and ships.
Yeah, all the biology would have been eaten, all the human flesh would have been eaten, but the cargo, oh my gosh. In fact, the thing you really want to drain is the Mediterranean. Because suckers have been sailing that thing since, for thousands of years.
Probably quite a bit of wealth down there.
Yeah, exactly. From Caesar's time and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
So
the salad guy.
What do you mean missing trains?
No. So
because at Penn Station.
No. So you can miss. They're missing planes, missing ships.
It's not fair. That wasn't
because when they're gone, they sink to the bottom of the ocean and you don't see them.
Right. Yes.
Right.
I get that.
No one ever reports a missing train because the train is on
it's not
ground,
magical, is what he's saying.
and you can stare at it.
It's not just going to go missing.
It's not going to disappear.
No one says that.
Neil deGrasse.
Salad dressing.
Neil deGrasse Tyson in studio. Cosmos is on. What channel is it on? I just got a copy of this.
So can I tell you? First it's on Fox.
Okay.
Fox primetime Sunday night 9 o'clock.
Wow.
And then
Great.
Fox said we like this show so much that we want to, there's a new word for me, roadblock the show. Do you ever know the phrase roadblock?
Roadblock.
You know what that
That's when
means?
he gets out of his car.
And then it comes back strong.
I know, yeah. So
But he'll bomb again.
if a network roadblocks a show, they take the rest of their properties, their cable properties, and simultaneously air it on those
Smart.
as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's going to appear on FX, which is a Fox property, FXX. Fox owns 3/4 of National Geographic Television, so that's in their family as well. It's on Nat Geo Wow. It's on Fox Sports 1,
Really?
Fox Sports 2. And then it will repeat on National Geographic in the days to come. And it's in I sound like a commercial here, but you got to hear this.
Great.
In 181 countries and 45 languages. It will air within days of the American premiere. And so Fox has made a huge investment in this, in the distribution, and I think the product will live up to the expectations.
I saw it. It's
that
strong.
come with it.
It looks great.
You know what? I got a great idea. Maybe you bring somebody on like me to teach me as you're going through this stuff.
Exactly. Like this, I brought my friend who I'm going to call Dumb Talking Turtle.
No, so the show is for people who we already got the geeks. I know we got the geeks.
Yeah.
And it's for people who never knew they could or would like science, but it's also for people who are pretty sure they don't like science.
Right.
Well, they can't relate to it. It's for anyone really with the beating heart.
The show's going to do great. You have a great way of explaining things.
Well,
it was really easy to follow, and it was fun to watch because of the animation and the special effects and stuff.
Opie brought up the fact that what is it? What did you say? He does very well.
Oh, you walk out of frame nicely. You make a dramatic point, and then you continue walking,
point and then walk off,
and then we're left with the star.
Well, let the universe
Or the
do the
ocean.
talking. I mean, I could spend the whole time lecturing you, but if we have awesome visual effects,
What you should have done is actually stood, like, whenever the camera went to the stars, you should have stood in front of it and just kind of blocked it.
here I am. It's like, no. So what happened was the original script was wordier than what ultimately came to pass. I was there describing how hot the sun was, and because as we dip into the sun, and we even visit a black hole. But then when you realize the visuals were so stunning and so compelling, what the hell am I talking about? You feel the heat of the sun.
Sure.
You know that's a black hole.
Right.
So shut up, Neil. This is what. So we trimmed just the total number of words, and I'm there really to guide the voyage, not to be the voyage.
Could you talk about the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs? That was creepy on the first episode.
Yeah.
I didn't know this either.
Oh yeah.
I know about the asteroid, obviously, but
It's the size, a little bit bigger than the size of Mount Everest, and it slammed into Earth, 66 million years ago. And our mammal ancestors were running underfoot, trying to avoid being hors d'oeuvres for T-Rex. And there we would have stayed.
Right.
Had this asteroid not struck.
No, but the reason...
So it's a taker away and bringer of life, because it renders the dinosaurs extinct, as well as 70% of all species of life on Earth. And then the the early mammals, it opened up an ecological niche so they can evolve to something more ambitious than tree shrews.
But the actual asteroid, didn't you say something how it bounced off another asteroid?
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
reason this happened?
So there's a lot of dynamics.
This
It's a shooting gallery out there, and you have these asteroids, big ones, medium ones, small ones, and some come a little near one versus another. They each have gravity. If you come a little close to me, I'm going to nudge you with I don't have to touch you to nudge you, because there's this force at a distance called gravity. And stunning that it exists across the vacuum of space. Think about that. This troubled Isaac Newton. How could one thing affect another and there's nothing between them? What's going on? There's no rope. There's no tether. There's no hook. So it was a huge mystery to him until Einstein basically figured this out and said that gravity is not really a force. It is the curvature of the fabric of space and time. If you know NASCAR, people say, NASCAR drivers always turn left, right? They don't know how to turn right because that's the direction of the tracks. However, the tracks are banked. So that if you drive on a NASCAR track and you drive at the speed for which the bank is angled, you never have to turn the wheel.
Right. Wow.
You just stay driving forward and the track turns you all by itself. So too is the curvature in the fabric of space and time. It will curve you even though you think you're going in a straight line. The car thinks it's going in a straight line because you didn't turn the steering wheel. So the only time they turn the steering wheel is to maneuver among the cars. If they're going the right speed, they're not actually turning left to complete the circle.
So you have a planet with mass that affects space.
Yeah, the fabric of space.
The fabric of space. So in essence, the force of gravity isn't really a force. You're almost going down a hill.
You're surfing a hill.
To
a slope.
The mass.
Brilliant.
He's
got it. He's got it.
That's quite amazing.
I'm glad I said that earlier.
so brilliant. Thank you for clarifying. You said it in fewer words than I did.
Sure.
So what happens is you have an asteroid minding its own business that might not have otherwise been on a collision course with Earth.
And they think that's...
And then another asteroid comes by it and it gets nudged. It doesn't nudge by the force of gravity into a trajectory that 65 million years ago collided with Earth.
And they think this
is the extreme contingency of life on Earth.
And they think this is what happened.
Where did it collide? Do they know where it hit?
Yeah, we found the spot. And by the way,
the Yucatan Peninsula.
The Yucatan Peninsula, in what is now Mexico.
Cocoa Beach.
Really? And you know what's cool? I got to tell you this. I described this to a whole room of people. And I tried to be funny, and I said, this asteroid struck at the Yucatan Peninsula of what is now Mexico, Mexico. And I said, although that's not what the dinosaurs called it back then. I thought I was being cute, right?
Boy.
And someone in the front row said, no, they called it Mexico.
Wow.
He's cracking himself up.
No, it was good. I thought that was good. The dinosaurs spoke Spanish and pronounced it right.
Doesn't it seem
so right there, what they found, and by the way, this was with the help of oil drillers, people who look for anomalies in the crust of the Earth to see where there might be repositories of oil. In so doing, they found a ridge line that was 150 miles in circumference. And this ridge line, they tracked it around and it completed an entire circle. And you go down there and get it and date the rocks 65 million years ago.
Wow.
So we say, yes, there's the smoking gun. The crater left over from the asteroid that struck.
Is there any of the original asteroid in there? Like any pieces of it, teeny pieces?
No, I mean there may be, but it's in the Gulf, and so plus most of the asteroid would be vaporized upon impact with the Earth. You get maybe a few percent of the total mass that just happened to fall off, but we're talking about 65 million years ago, and it's not.
And it's my point is it's pure luck we're here because that asteroid just had a little bump or whatever.
Correct, and what would happen is if the asteroid didn't hit, dinosaurs would surely still be here,
to this day.
We wouldn't. Oh yeah, because they were around. You want to mine?
You could say the F word.
No.
Well, he doesn't want to, but it was fun watching him realize what he backed himself into.
No, that was a moment.
There's been a couple of times where I thought shit was going to come out. Motherfucker was going to come out.
No, okay. You tell me whether it's worth it. You tell me whether this earns it, okay?
Yeah.
So, if you look at the tenure that dinosaurs enjoyed on Earth, they were around for 200 million years before the asteroid struck.
Wow.
And it's only been 65 million years since.
Wow.
So given that fact, there is no reason to presume that they wouldn't still be here.
They wouldn't be here.
They were just unlucky. They didn't have a space program to deflect the asteroid. So it is likely that if the asteroid did not strike, they would still be here, and we wouldn't. Now, maybe would they have technology? Would they be in this booth doing a radio show?
And probably have more listeners.
They would say something like, "Aren't we lucky that that asteroid didn't strike?"
But wait,
Whereas you're saying, "Aren't we lucky that it did?"
Sure,
Right.
of course.
Yeah.
Hey, we only have a couple minutes, but someone wants you to talk about the discovery of water. Wait, no. The alien. Okay, yeah. Can you touch on the theory that aliens are at the bottom of the ocean?
I'm.
Is that one of your things?
I hadn't heard that one.
Oh, okay.
No,
I wasn't sure if that was
Sorry,
something you were.
guys.
What is true is that there's surely, there are surely species of fishes thriving at the bottom of the ocean that are uncatalogued and unknown to biologists. So we know so much more about our solar system than the oceanographer knows about the bottom of the ocean. Wow. In fact, it's more dangerous to visit the bottom of the ocean than it is to visit space. The pressure difference between your vessel and space is 1 atmosphere. The pressure difference between your vessel and the bottom of the ocean is 30 atmospheres, 50. You go down, your vessel, you're ready to die.
Right.
Be ready to die. Going down like to the Marianas Trench off of the Philippines, the deepest part of Earth's crust. So
how deep?
It's 30,000 feet down. It's as far deep into our crust as Mount Everest is high.
Oof.
And what is Jupiter's gravity is so intense. Like, what's the difference between Jupiter's gravity and that?
Okay, well, the problem is you can't just stand on Jupiter and pull out your scale and weigh yourself because it's gaseous. And plus Jupiter's large, so you're actually far away from the source of gravity how you calculate the gravity. So if you're 150 pounds, I forgot the number. You're not as heavy as you think you would have been. You might be 400 pounds or something. You're not going to be like thousands and thousands of pounds. And Jupiter and Saturn are actually very low density because they're made of mostly gas. Saturn has such low density, it's less dense than water. So, in fact, Saturn could float if you had a bathtub big enough. And when I was a kid, I said, I don't want the rubber ducky, I want a rubber Saturn so that it could float.
And be accurate. An accurate depiction.
Exactly.
You didn't say that as a kid.
I swear to you, I said that as a kid.
Did you go to a regular school?
Yeah, PS. All my schools had a PS in front of it.
Are you from New York?
Born and raised in New York City, in the Bronx.
You
went to PS 36 in the East Bronx for like kindergarten.
You still live here?
Yeah, I live in Manhattan now. And then went to PS 81.
You were like 12 years old in college, right?
No. And then went to junior high school 141, and then to the Bronx High School of Science.
What a great statement for the New York City school system.
Yeah,
well, I think so. And Bronx Science is a public school, and one of our proudest points is that Bronx Science counts 8 Nobel laureates among its graduates,
and 7 Jews. My people, big in Nobel.
All right then, Neil's got to go for real.
No, he's actually right. A fourth of all Nobel prizes given in the sciences have gone to Jews.
Yes. Yeah. And what about medicine? You want to go there too?
That was great.
Medicine. I'm counting that in the sciences.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
exactly.
Dummy. Yeah, human physiology and medicine is a category of the Nobel prizes.
Blows it.
Yeah.
I know. Just when you had him on your side, you had to ruin it with your pro-Semitism.
Neil,
pro-Semitism. That's a great phrase.
Neil is.
What I would try to caution people is the more you cite the achievements of others with whom you associate, the less you're admitting that you have less to talk about for yourself.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
Right. So he's basically killing parades.
What you're trying to do is bask in the luminosity of others with whom you associate, and so that some of that luminosity would be shed upon you. And what I would encourage
you went from scientist to doctor to therapist.
So
now
what
I really feel stupid.
What I would encourage people, rather than say, "Oh, these are my people or my country," I would encourage people to be the luminosity yourself.
And believe me,
they are when other people talk about.
And I slightly violated because I said the Bronx Science had 8 Nobel laureates, but to make a point that's as many Nobel laureates as the country of Spain has. And so I want to make a point that it's not a given that at any time and place your nation or your culture puts forth great achievers. And it takes investments, it takes nurturing, And in the Jewish community, you have that. By the way, it's not the entire Jewish community.
No, I know.
Okay? It's subsets of the Jewish community that value learning and creative thinking. So just remember, America may have had its day, and maybe we're fading now.
And as much as you're saying don't like associate yourself with the Jews, believe me, the Jews agree with you. They do not want Vos admitting that he's Jewish. Every time he talks, they're like, just shut up and convert. They're sending him like Jehovah's Witness and Catholicism pamphlets.
Plus, he's fully tattooed. You're not allowed to do that.
That's true. Well, first of all, they were free.
In the Bible it says tattoos okay if it's free. Mutilated, but free mutilation of your body.
That's bull about the tattoos, because if you couldn't get into a cemetery for defacing your body, not one Jew would be in a cemetery because of facelifts, ear piercings. That's defacing your body.
And what about the circumcision? That's kind of defacing your body as well.
He doesn't like them.
It's a little loophole right there, isn't it?
But I agree with what you're saying about not putting anybody in a pedestal.
All right, we got to let him go. We got to let him go.
I love
I've been trying to do this for 5 minutes.
And you're agreeing with him. I agree. Space is big. All right, good. Poor guy.
Big. Time is vast. There you go.
Such a great ending, and Dummy's going to ask 9 more questions.
Neil is very busy, and he truly has to go. They're panicking outside the studio. I've been trying to cut him off.
Guys, thanks. Great being on the show again. Thanks for calling in.
Nice to meet you. Opie, let's give the plug real quick. It's 9 o'clock on Fox on Sunday and a bunch of other channels. And just go to Neil Tyson at Twitter, and he will have all the information.
I want to say it again.
That'd be at Neil Tyson on Twitter.
I want to say it again.
Put in front of the Neil Tyson.
I saw the first episode. It was. I'm in big time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Relax. The Opie and Anthony Show will be right back.